Hello and welcome to this next episode of the Football Fun Factory podcast. I'll be putting James and Jonny on the spot with some challenging questions about children's football coaching. This week, we are looking at probably one of the most challenging times, the most pressurised times for a head coach, managing the match days. You guys ready for a first question?
Ready.
Born ready.
Fantastic. So, you're short on players. You have to call up some younger children to play. How do you manage that? Manage the younger children to not feel uncomfortable coming into a new team and make them feel like they're ready to go. Jonny?
Two things.
Sorry, I can only accept
Yeah, it's breaking the rules, can't do that.
Sorry, John.
I'm doing two things. One, big them up. I'll tell you more on how you can do it if you award me the point.
Okay.
And two...
I think you've already been disqualified by having two answers.
Fine, if you don't want to know the answers to the...
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop you there. James, over to you.
I'd make one of them captain.
Make one captain, big them up. Quite similar. I think because there's a few younger players coming up, you're only going to be able to make one of them captain to start the game. I'm going to go with Jonny to talk a little bit more about how he's going to big up the younger children.
The second thing I would have said.
No, you're only allowed one. You're only allowed one.
I'll have to stop you there.
So probably similar thought process that JC had, but I think when new children come into a group, you can do it a number of different ways, but big them up so then the other children are excited to play with them, because that can be potentially one of the stumbling blocks that you come across. I think give them confidence. What I like to do is even when in training, you transfer one child onto the other team, you say, it's been a £10 billion transfer record fee, and that gives that child a bit of confidence and a bit of a boost. The second point that I wasn't allowed to say...
You can now, the winner.
Get in, was going to say around setting them effort-based challenges. So one thing that they might be nervous about when they're playing is, are they going to win the game? Are they going to perform as well as the other children? But if you set them effort-based challenges, then they know they can achieve them. So it basically puts them at ease and gives them something achievable to try and do when they play.
So give some examples of them effort-based challenges that you could...
It might be to try and tackle 5 players. And rather than tackle 5 players, it's try and tackle 5 players. So it's something that is in their control and isn't dependent on the outcome. Could be to hit your top speed 5 times when you're running with the ball, those types of things that basically are in their control and isn't based on the result or other children within the session. So
you talked about sort of bigging them up, offering these effort-based challenges. Would your emphasis be more on these younger children that are coming to play in this game more so than the other guys that are part of the team on a regular basis?
I don't think you necessarily need to change your whole approach. I think that's a skill of a coach, isn't it, to big children up when they need it and to lean into certain children if they need that additional support. So I think I'd make a big point of it at the start, and then depending on how the game goes and how the children are getting on, then potentially lean into that as the game develops. But try and big them up as much as possible. I guess, JC, that was a similar thought process to you with the captain's armband.
Yeah, it's almost the thought of if the younger children come into the team and there's kind of focus and attention on that.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some younger children playing with us today, and we're the children, say we're the under-9s, and we've got some under-8s playing with us today. Then it's almost a bit of a surprise element, if you like, if you make one of the under-8s the captain for the team and almost alleviate all those fears that anyone may have or thoughts or feelings. I guess there's also, it depends on that example, 8-year-olds playing in under-9s, but then it really varies, doesn't it, where if it's a youth team player playing in the first team and that age gap is wider, or if there's a real specific age group, perhaps like under-16s, whereas an under-15 playing in under-16s, then physicality could be a big thing as well. So I think it's building the confidence of those children that are playing up an age, and it's making sure that there's no detractors in those children that are of the right age, and maybe just setting the scene with them and maybe challenging them perhaps before it happens to say, let's be really welcoming, we're going to make one of them captain, let's make it a real positive thing, just to really manage the environment, because you never know what kids are thinking or feeling or going to say in those environments.
I think that's a really good point, in particular around getting the older children to try and welcome the younger children as they come into the group. My nephew played up a year for his local grassroots team because they were short, and it was actually the reverse. So there was a captain already in the team, but the coach spoke to the captain and said, try and welcome Jack in and get him on your team and big him up and those types of things. And that like helped him sort of put at ease as he came into the
And
into
were
the
all
game.
those children very welcoming? Because sometimes it's not that easy for the older children to welcome in younger children.
I think because the captain on that day it sort of set the tone for everyone else. I think if you can lean into those bigger personalities and get them to get excited about the younger players coming in, that can then rub off on the rest of the children as well.
Fantastic. Strong start. 1-0, Jonny. Some work to do, James.
Cheers.
Yep. Okay, next question. Your goalkeeper is having a really tough game. They've already conceded 3 goals that was their fault. It looks like they want to give it up. How do you deal with that situation, James?
I'm going to make an assumption that it might be one specific thing. So, for example, like goal kicks where they're giving the ball away. So I would say try and help them with that one specific thing. So in that scenario, allow them a short pass or ask one of the other players to drop in to receive the ball from the goalkeeper so the goalkeeper's not giving the ball away.
Okay, very good. Jonny?
Positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement. I'm going to go with you, James, because you put a bit more meat on the bone.
A bit more effort.
Yeah. So go on, tell us a little bit more about the specifics.
So ultimately, it's really simple, isn't it? If someone's struggling with something, try and help them. So we want to build their confidence, but giving them, they may just need that extra little bit of information.
Yeah.
So that's just quite a common one, isn't it? Where I know there's like retreat rules and things in grassroots football now, but I sort of think back to when I was coaching grassroots matches, and you would have like there'd be an awful scenario where every time there was a goal kick, it turned into a goal.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper would give the ball away. The opposition team would then score. Happens on repeat. The goalie feels awful. Like potentially some of the other kids start getting on the goalie's back, and it's just not a great environment at all. Obviously, there's rules and things to mitigate those kind of things happening now. But if there's a common mistake that's happening on repeat, ultimately you need to try and help. In that scenario, I guess that if we try to help, try to give them the information, and then they're successful with that, that's where the positive reinforcement, I think, can come in, because it's like, brilliant, you did it really well that time, that's exactly what you need to do, well done. It's almost like they've had a challenge, they've had a bit of a failure, they've then got some information, seen success. That's coaching, right? That's the opportunity for us to impart knowledge and give children the tools they need to develop in the game. I guess then the real challenge comes where if it just keeps on happening, we're giving them the information, we tried to help them, what the kind of next step is, because in that scenario it's a really difficult one. What do? Change the goalkeeper?
Yeah, and it's
tough.
With that, obviously you've identified there's a technical flaw that you're trying to deal with. Like, how would you do that from the side of the pitch? Would it be a case of waiting for a break to speak to the goalkeeper on an individual level? Like, how would you sort of solve that?
Yeah, I think there's obviously more flexibility when it comes to like the real younger age groups, where potentially you could walk round to the goal and have a chat with the goalkeeper as the game's going on.
Yeah.
Little breaks in play. Obviously, it depends on, if there's a half time coming up in a few minutes or a break in play, then you can grab the opportunity to do that. You obviously just want to try your best to put steps in place to avoid it happening again.
Yeah.
But quite often those can involve another player. So in the example I gave, it's like, could you then get your perceived best player on the pitch to say, look, we're struggling a little bit with goal kicks at the moment. If you could just drop in and receive it from the goal, and then suddenly they've had some success.
Yeah.
And you've made it easier for them. I think that's ultimately what you need to do, don't you? It's like, it's no different to if you're running a training session, you're teaching a kid a Cruyff turn and they just can't get it. What do you need to do? Well, you need to make it easier for them. If they just keep failing, you've given them the information, they still can't do it, you need to simplify it. So if there's a way to, in the match, in the moment, simplify something, I guess the other scenario there was that if there was a goal kick to be taken, say it's a 12, under 12s game, and we keep giving the ball away from the goal kicks, then maybe one of the defenders who can clear the ball a bit further at the pitch steps in and takes that role on. But it's trying to make sure that we're not knocking children's confidence as part of that, because taking away responsibility could be it's a difficult one to manage, isn't it? How would you go about that one specific scenario, John?
I think with regards to the scenario you sort of played out and painted out with regards to like the goal kick scenario, I think obviously the FA have tried to put some steps in place to stop stuff like that happening with the retreat rule. I think that it probably is trying to support them with other players, as you mentioned, so get a stronger player to come and receive the ball. But I think ultimately the biggest thing that a coach can do is show that it doesn't bother them, and the parents on the sideline the same. I think if you're calm, you've got positive body language, you're like clapping and applauding them, then I think that can give the child the confidence they need, or not knock their confidence to the point where they want to give up. So I think it's really important that you just don't show any frustration from the sidelines, because it is a really difficult scenario, and if that may keep happening, and ultimately there is a skills gap there and it's something that they can't do in the moment until it's half time. It's quite hard to affect that and stop that.
So just on that though, so we've talked really specifically about that one, isolated technical issue that could happen within the game from goal kicks. What if you got a under 10s game, you got a goalkeeper? We've probably all been in this situation actually, like coaching academy football. And first quarter of the game, goalie's let 3 goals in. It's just like they've all slipped through their hands. They've dropped one in the back of the net. They've one's rolled through their legs, and they've just had an absolute stinker. What do we do?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No,
and I think that's the key, and I think that's what you need to try and show to the children.
I think that's true. But what if it really matters to the child? Because that was in the question, right? So it's almost if the child is really low on confidence, is it then right to take them out of the equation, and give them a bit of breathing space? Is that may be what they're seeking?
It's so hard, isn't it? And I think that's really important. So we speak a lot about understanding the children that you're coaching, because if you've got a personal relationship, you know them really well, you can sort of know what could potentially be best for them. But I think it's so sort of hard to take them off as a goalkeeper in specific. It's a hard thing to do, isn't it? Because for them, how does it make them feel? But like you say, in some cases they'll think, just take me out of this situation.
Even though when you're an outfield player, if you've made 3 mistakes and it's cost your team a goal, and then you get pulled off, actually that potentially can be more damning and worse. Like you say, depends on the individual. But I think what's really important is the stuff that you do before and after. So set the expectations at the start, create that environment where it's okay for children to make mistakes, showcase on the sidelines if your team does concede to not be annoyed, not be frustrated, not be upset by it, and then ultimately after speak to them and help them try and learn from that moment.
Yeah, but it is so important, isn't it, that children fail and they have those challenges where they're not going to improve, they're not going to sort of both sort of emotionally and technically improve as people, and it's sort of that can be a massive opportunity for a coach to support their development.
Yeah, and educate them that failure is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. 1-1?
1-1.
1-1.
Let's move on. Okay, fantastic question here for you. It's going to really put you on the spot and challenge you. A parent challenges you on the sidelines to ask why their child isn't starting the game. How do you deal with that, remaining really positive on the sideline? Jonny?
Great question. I think try and kill them with kindness and defer the conversation to later on.
Good answer. James?
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Whenever it's a good answer, you say
great minds think alike.
So I'll say deal with it in the moment. So give them a short answer now. So that short answer might be along the lines of, we have a policy where everyone plays the same amount of minutes. Your child will get the same amount of minutes as everyone else. And then say, let's talk about this after the game. So sort of developing on Jonny's answer.
exactly the same. So I'm going to have
slightly
to
enhance.
I'm going to have to. I did enhance, but I'm going to go with Jonny purely because he said it first.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
John.
So I think the kill them with kindness bit is really important.
Yeah.
So be empathetic, to be understanding of the point, because in that moment emotions may be high, that they may come over frustrated, and I think if you bite back or you show any level of resistance to it, then actually that can escalate and create a really negative environment. So kill them with kindness, appreciate and understand their point of view, show empathy, but then say to them, this is why I've done it, or can we have a proper chat about it after, and then pick a conversation where it's more appropriate, there's more time to talk about it, it's not in front of the children, in front of the other parents.
It's a brilliant answer. Just going back to Killen with Kindless, you've obviously planned this match, you've got under a little bit of pressure where we've got to get all these kids on the pitch for the same amount of time. Is that an easy thing to do in that exact situation when you're being challenged by a parent, when you're getting ready to start this game?
Absolutely not, and it is difficult, and we'll sort of put coaches to the test in that moment, but I think it's so important to take a deep breath, like appreciate that the most important thing in that moment is the children, so therefore just try and move that part of that conversation on as quickly as possible. As I say, understand, appreciate, empathise with the parent, but draw your attention back to the children as soon as possible. But it's not easy, it's tough.
Can we look at this through a more developmental lens? Because I think there's two scenarios. One would be academy football. Let's talk specifically about grassroots, but to move slightly towards that, we're talking about maybe the older age groups, because we talked there about, explain to them that everyone plays equal minutes. But what if that's not the case? Because, under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, that could be true. But it is also true that if you're an under 14s grassroots football coach and you're playing in the semi-final of the cup, that you may not have an equal minutes policy, and that you may have stronger players and weaker players, and there may be a parent that says, why is my child not playing? So does the approach change based on that scenario versus a group of under 7s where there is everyone plays the equal playing time?
Yeah, I would imagine, I'm not speaking for you, but I would imagine sort of what you're going to do to have the chat afterwards. You might not say everyone plays, but can we talk about this after? Is that?
Yeah, it's very much the same approach. I think it's that this is the decision that we've decided on today. This is what we've opted for. We'll happily explain it to you in full after the game, but at the moment the focus now needs to be on the children and getting everyone ready. So I think. And then
what is the conversation?
Ultimately, the rationale and the reason as to why you've made that decision. And I think as long as coaches have thought behind the decisions that they're making, then ultimately parents hopefully will be understanding, and they may not always agree with it, but at least then you've got your integrity because you've made that decision for a reason.
But you say that is what James says, an under 14 game, the lad or the girl that's not started is a long way behind the rest. That's the reason, because you really want to win that game. Like, is that the honest conversation that you have with a parent saying, look, we feel the other players are better to it? Like, what? How do you?
I think it massively, and this is sort of loops all the way back round to the conversations that you're having right at the start of the season, your philosophy, what the parents are signing up for, what your approach is. I think what's so important is you're not changing your approach for those games, because then the parents, to be honest, do have a valid argument or a valid point to then come and challenge you on that. But ultimately, if you set out at the start of the season that whatever your philosophy is of the club, I've got my own, but say it was that during the league games we'll play equal minutes and during the cup games we'll go for the strongest teams, if that's what they've set out at the start, then ultimately that's what people have bought into, that's what people have signed up for. So I say I've got my own thoughts, but ultimately I think if you're not changing your philosophy, then that's the way to deal with it.
I think I would deal with that in a way where I would say we can defer the minutes to another game. Say in this moment, we need to try and win this game. This is an important game, and we want to try and get through to the final. We will make sure that get some playing time within the game, but also that in the next game or in a future game, maybe we're playing bottom of the league next week, for example, then you can get some more minutes for that child.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it all comes back to what's been set out at the start and not going against that. The problems arise, don't they, when you at the start of the season you say something and then it gets to the semi-final of the cup and you do something else, and that's where everyone gets annoyed because you go against your word.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic answer, Jonny.
Thank you very much.
Great points, James.
2-1 to Jonny.
Get in.
Question 4.
Question 4.
Your team is losing heavily. How do you manage that group, keep the spirits high despite the scoreline, James?
I would set a challenge other than the final score.
challenge other than the final score, John?
Very good answer, James.
Thank you.
You're definitely going to win this point because it's 2-1.
You never know.
No, if you give a better answer, John.
Yeah, if you
Over to you.
I don't know if I can.
if that's your
answer.
attitude, then it will be, won't it? Because you're not going to give a good answer.
If he does win the point, you should take away the point for his bad attitude.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I would go for very similar, but I'm going to expand on your point. Individual challenges.
Very similar to what James said. James, you win 2-2. It's going to get into the final question.
So, ready for the final question?
Yeah.
So, say it's 4-0 at half time. It might be, look, guys, that we've had a poor half, but can we win the second half? Or if then it feels really unrealistic that you could go and win the second half, can we try and, string 5 passes together or whatever it might be, whatever challenge is suitable to give the kids something to aspire to that's not going to be winning the game. That said, it really depends on the circumstances, because if you're 3-0 down at half time and you've been absolutely battered in the first half, is it possible to come back and win 4-3? And should we talk at half time about effectively giving up and trying to win the second half so we don't get beaten too heavily? Then there's moments where you need to motivate and inspire children, because it is possible to come back. So it's really deciding kind of how big a shift that momentum needs. Because
So go on then. So say it was 10-0 at half time.
yeah, if you're getting absolutely battered
drubbed.
and the other team are just clearly much, much better, I think in that scenario that we then could give them individual challenges. And I think there's probably a balance of both, because there might be some individual challenges that really help limit the number of goals that they concede, for example.
Yeah.
So thinking about the number, so if we keep getting caught in possession, it could be around the touches on the ball that we're having, moving the ball quicker and things like that. Getting X amount of passes in X number of seconds, those kind of challenges. But then it could be, let's have a focus today, guys. Say it's an under-9s game. Let's have a focus. We're 10-0 down. We want to enjoy the game. Don't worry about the score. If we could score a goal, how great would that be? Let's try our best in the second half to score a goal. Let's do everything we can. If we don't, doesn't matter. We're going to try our best to score a goal.
Yeah.
So what could we do in the second half to try and score a goal? And then say the game ends up 15-1. The kids could come off going, oh, the coach has set us a challenge, we've achieved the challenge, and they come away having lost 15-1, but found some enjoyment within the game.
And I think that can work with the younger age group. If you're coaching an under 15, a bunch of grumpy teenagers, they're 10-0 down at half time. Because that doesn't really stick with them, does it? Like in terms of, let's try and get 5 passes. Like what would it look like then?
So I think it is then limiting the number of goals conceded, because ultimately they're not feeling good. Their egos are hit a little bit, and probably so too is yours as the coach. And I think it's like, right, guys, look, we're not going to come back in this game. Like we're going to get beaten today. What we need to do is take the opportunity today is to learn how to defend when we're really under pressure. Yeah, we're going to come up in other games where it's going to be much closer. It's going to be really important that we don't concede goals. So let's use the second half today as an opportunity to work on our defending as a team. Yeah, let's work on pressing the ball a bit quicker, getting tighter to people, and let's limit the number of goals that we concede in the second half. If we go and win the second half 1-0, brilliant. But let's not go and lose. It's 10-0 now. Let's not lose 20-0 today. Let's improve in the second half. And I think the way we can do that is X, Y, and Z. I think that would be my message to those kids, because ultimately they can go away from feeling really bad at half time to feeling a little bit better at the end of the game. And I think that then they could take there is real development in that. Yeah. Isn't there?
No, definitely. And I think it is so different, isn't it, where kids that are just starting playing football, they don't really understand it, under 6, under 7, and they might concede a load of goals. They know that they're losing, but they're still charging around all over the place, having a good time, when that does change a lot. Yeah. When you get into the teenage years and sort of going towards under 13s, 14s, 15s, where they really feel it and feel hurt by it.
I think with the older age groups, what's key to do is at that halftime team talk, if you're 10-0 down, to talk about things like character, resilience, like attitude, because ultimately those are the things that are controllable. So you can go out, you can press closer, you can do all the technical things that will hopefully stop the drubbing that you're getting at 10-0 at half time. But ultimately, if the team is far better than yours, then there may be no stopping that. And actually, as the time goes on and the game goes on, if they do then come away losing 21-0 overall, it can be even more damaging. So I think if you can talk to the children as much as possible as well around like, let's go out there and no matter what the score is, keep trying, keep staying positive with each other, keep showing character and resilience and those types of things. Because then regardless of the score, when they then come off, you can then talk about those. And that's something that all of the children can control without...
Yeah. I think that is... Like when that does happen, that is an opportunity in terms we talk about a lot in our program. It's about child development as much as it is football development, and that is a huge opportunity for a coach to see real lessons being learned when you're in them really challenging situations.
Nice.
2-2. I can't believe every episode has gone down to the last question.
Such a coincidence.
But it's the quality of the answers.
Yeah.
Last question?
Last question.
Okay, your striker scores a fantastic goal, but then in his celebration decides to shush the opposition's parents. How are you going to deal with that, James?
Sub the child off.
Sub him off?
Yeah.
John?
Carry on.
Well, me carry on? You're not going to answer?
No, that's it. Carry on with the game. Speak to them after. And get them to
You're
apologise.
not going to deal with it.
I don't know, is it that bad? I don't know what... I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with you, James.
Oh, thank goodness.
Just want to hear...
Safe answer.
Yeah, I just want to hear more. Like, so he's just scored potentially the winning goal. Just give the parents a little shush.
Yeah.
It's all part of the game, isn't it? You're not taking them off. That's a tough question. That's a great question.
It needs context, doesn't it? Because if the opposition's parents have been shouting from the sidelines the whole game and you score in the last minute and it goes, you give me one of them, you sort of go, God.
I'm sort of buzzing off this imaginary little boy.
But in an under-sevens game, there's been nothing but support from the sidelines, and I've seen it on TV and goes and replicates it. There's an opportunity to educate the child in the night. And in that scenario, you could pull them and just go, look, great goal, well done. When you're celebrating, don't do that. Because it could be perceived as this. And just take the opportunity. I think that the element of surprise there is, it feels like a bit of an opportunity for me and their sort of people management.
Yeah, I'm really torn by that question, to be honest with you. What does that... Like, what are you risking there by taking the child off after scoring a goal? Like, as a... Not just, obviously... You consider that the right thing to do, which is absolutely fine. Then thinking about the kid's just scored, might be one of his first goals, might be really young, he's absolutely buzzing, he's come off the parents are absolutely buzzing because he's just scored the winner, and they're thinking, what was he doing? Why is he taking him off? Like, what's the sort of the consideration behind that?
Education.
Yeah.
So that respect is more important than talent and outcome. You know, that child development is more important than football development. So it's just an opportunity. I think it's kind of how it's done as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if then, you know, the game kicks off again and 2 minutes later, you then sub the kids to have a quiet word with them. It's very different to seeing it and in the moment go, right, get off. It's very different how you manage it. So I think it's not as...
I think that probably, though, if you're going to do it, you probably need to do it in the moment to make a point of it. So I think, like, my answer of, like, carrying on, what I'd probably do in the moment is, as that was happening, try and address it then and there to say, stop, don't do that. So little Billy, we don't do that. And, like, call him back to the halfway line to carry on playing, and then speak to little Billy after the game.
Or allow them to continue playing, but pull them to the sideline as the game's going.
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It's like, we're a player short now whilst I'm talking to you, and it's almost like that's the punishment.
You almost need to have a sign to everyone else that's not okay, because albeit that you see it on Saturday at the Premier League.
Little Billy's done that, and you've shouted over, Billy, we don't do that, and then you're gonna like, is that sort of for you? So you're being seen, so everyone can see that's not. You're saying that's not right, or would it be more effective just talking to little Billy on his own? Like, it just feels like you saying that is more for your benefit, so all the people at the side can see, the coach has said that.
Not for my benefit, but for the parents and the children's benefit that isn't Billy.
Yeah.
So like the other children to then see and hear me as the coach saying that's not okay, for the parents to say that. Because what will happen, the fact that he's then gone and shushed the other parents, is the snowball effect of that. So then the other parents then might get irate, like there's emotions are high, like you've seen it in grassroots football, and then it all starts kicking off. Whereas actually if you're seen to deal with it in the moment or address it in the moment, then I think that actually can appease it, and the parents can then, okay, right, at least the coach has addressed it and knows that's not okay.
Yeah. What, aside from how we deal with it in terms of the right thing to do, what do you actually think? Like, aside from like what other people think of you and what Billy, what's good for Billy's development, what do you think?
I mean, I'd feel a little uncomfortable as a parent if one of my kids did that.
Yeah, that's a good lens to look at it.
Like not from a coach. I don't know. Like obviously you're coaching all the kids, they're under your control, but you might. I don't know. It's a tight game. I don't know. If a coach, you might have a little sort of smirk, a little giggle. I mean, that's like personally, that's probably. Obviously, I know that I've got
team and giving it that all game.
I'm next to Billy in front of
You slide on the pitch.
Trying to the other parents from the side.
But it is like it's a really good question. But like you say, I think what you mentioned there in terms of a snowballer, like before you know it, you've got a team full of shushers every goal, no matter what, they're going up to the opposition's parents.
10-0 down.
That is, but I think like it has to be dealt with. But I think it's so important because what you don't want to do as well is to take that huge amount of joy away from
of course,
a 7-year-old child who's potentially just scored a winning goal for the first time. He's seen the players do it on the TV when they're shushing the away fans, and I think it is again that sort of education side.
But it is naivety, isn't it? It's like they probably don't even know what that, what they mean by that.
Exactly.
Obviously, in a professional environment, it'd be like it would be that, wouldn't it? If the fans been given a player
Jamie Vardy comes to mind.
Go and shush the opposition fans.
Yeah.
Kids do replicate what they see on television in grassroots football, and it's just making sure that whether it's rolling around by the corner flag, clutching your knee when nothing's happened, or like putting your hands up for a corner, a signal. It's that, and obviously that doesn't matter, but shushing the opposition's fans, they just replicate those things, and it's taking opportunities to, whether it's in the moment, subbing them off, having a quiet chat after the game, as a group at the end, saying we don't do that, to highlight it in front of everyone. Whatever you do, you have to educate the child.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing that it's no different to making, the last question about goalkeeper making a mistake. They make a mistake and you have to try and help them to get better.
Yeah.
It's no different to shushing the opposition's parents as a mistake. Should be something that we are doing. It's not something we'd encourage, is it? Nobody's going to go well done for that. So it's making sure that we take the opportunity at the appropriate moment to then educate them as to why.
Brilliant. Fantastic answers today. A massive congratulations, James.
Thank you very much.
Well done, JC.
3-2 win today. Well
Cheers,
done.
mate.
And now,
Football fun fact.
the best part.
Yes.
of the podcast.
Here we go.
So I've got one for you now. I've been researching for weeks about this.
I can imagine.
But last 2 times you've got it right, haven't you? And there's a chance that one of you might get this right. So my fact today is the most goals ever scored in a Premier League game. Have you got any idea of what that is?
Both teams added together.
Both teams added together. Give me a guess of the number.
11.
And the teams. 11?
13 And I want to say Ipswich, Man United.
I was going to say Ipswich Man United.
So 13, Ipswich Man United.
I thought it was 11.
11.
Ipswich Man United.
So the correct number of goals is 11.
Yes, John.
Get
And the
in,
game
finally.
was Portsmouth v Reading. 7-4 to Portsmouth at Fratton Park.
When was that?
That was in 2005, I believe. So,
Very good fact.
And who scored?
And what
all the
minute
goals?
did they score?
What was your favourite goal?
thank you for watching another episode of the Football Fun Factory podcast. We'll be back really soon, challenging the questions.
Leave that in.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Football Fun Factory podcast. We'll be back really soon with another episode with some challenging questions on children's football coaching.